All right, back into Friday as one of the world's largest data breaches has the potential to compromise billions of accounts and has prompted cybercrime concerns. Here is tech expert Carmi Levy, who joins us now for more. Carmi, good morning, Carmi, sorry, on this Friday. This is being called the mother of all data breaches. Can you just put this into perspective for us, just how big this is and what sites have been compromised, and how would we know if we've even been impacted?
The number is mind-boggling, Jeff. 26 billion records, which is 3.25 for every human being on planet Earth. Easily the largest trove of data that we've ever seen. Probably not one breach, probably the result of previous breaches. Cyber criminals are taking the information from those breaches and kind of consolidating them, putting them all into one massive pile. So in terms of scale, we've never seen anything like this. This is the kind of stuff that keeps you up at night. And from sites that we're all very familiar with: LinkedIn, X, formerly Twitter, Snapchat, DoorDash. In China, Weibo and Tencent, these two giant social media platforms. So basically a who's who of the web and of big social. And so really it means here that, your information probably out there in some way. And what's happening is cyber criminals are raising the stakes. Essentially, they're scaling up their operations, and the numbers keep getting larger with each successive announcement.
Could explain, Carmi, why a new survey says most Canadians feel their personal data is more exposed than ever.
Yeah, this data comes to us from Interac, and it sort of confirms that what we've already known is that it's a scary world out there, and it's starting to affect us. 3/4 of Canadians feel their data is more exposed than ever. Similar number says that companies have too much of their data, but at the same time, Canadians are saying they don't feel that they're able to protect themselves, and the companies themselves aren't making it easy to do so. The terms of use statements, for example, far too complex, doesn't explain what they'll do and what consumers can do to protect themselves. So, on the one hand, Canadians are finally saying, look, it's bad out there. We are afraid. The organizations we deal with need to do more. But at the same time, I'm an optimist. We've been sticking our head in the sand on this for so long. This data proves that Canadians are finally starting to wake up to the problem, and recognition. Of course, we know that's the first step toward fixing this.
All right, well, let's talk a bit more about what we can do to protect ourselves, Carmi. Do you have any tips for us, ways we can ensure that our online data and information is indeed protected?
If you do one thing, change your password, because a lot of this data is from previous or old breaches, and it might have your old usernames and passwords. Change the password. You slam the door on anyone who would use that information to try to sign into one of your accounts to try to launch another attack on you. Use a password manager to have hard to guess passwords. Change them frequently. Have different ones for all the systems that you use. That can go a long way toward protecting you as well. Also, whatever service or system or app or website you're using, go into the settings, turn on two-factor authentication. That way, even if they get the password, they're not getting in. And this is, something we often don't think about, but look at your social media activity. We're oversharing, and a lot of the data that is in this breach was scraped or harvested from social media sites. So if we look at what we're sharing and we start dialing that back a little bit, we give cyber criminals less to work with.
All right. Okay. To another big story we were talking about at the top of the show: sexually explicit AI deepfakes of Taylor Swift spreading quickly across the internet. Do social media companies have effective plans in place to monitor this content, Carmi?
They don't, Carolyn. In fact, they're going the wrong way. Both X, formerly Twitter, as well as Meta, over the last year have fired people from their content moderation and online safety teams. And so they say in their terms of service, in their PR efforts, that yes, they're committed to this, but they're putting fewer resources into ensuring that we are protected from this kind of misinformation. So as deepfakes become more realistic, they become more widespread. We're seeing them across all of these platforms. The companies are, in fact, investing less in protecting us against them.
All right. You can't help but think, though, Carmi, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more of this, unfortunately, to come, because these deepfakes, they're doing nothing but getting more and more realistic. And we have to wonder how we can ensure that individuals like Taylor Swift and others aren't exploited.
The tools are getting better by the day, Jeff, and that is the problem. The fidelity is becoming so good that even if you lean in and you really watch those videos closely to look for signs that they are not quite legit, it's getting harder and harder to tell they really do look terrifyingly real. And so what we need to do is assume that everything that we're seeing online is in fact not legit. And we need to do our homework to check, make sure that we trust that it comes from a legitimate source, that it has been verified before we decide to either engage with it or share it or do anything else with it. We're part of the solution, but because many of us just see something and then immediately share it, we contribute to these things going viral without doing our homework. If we did a little bit of due diligence, that would go a long way toward cutting these things down to size while the big platforms work on hopefully reinvesting in protection.
For sure. All right, we're going to leave it there. Carmi, thank you for this.
Appreciate being here, guys. Thanks.